I'm going to explain how to make one of our Softie Soft Shackles, and this is for our CSS 104, our larger soft shackle that you can use for halyards, sheets, all kinds of things to replace metal shackles on a boat. And you can see they have this handy dandy little leash to open them up over the large stopper knot, which is the key to the whole shackle. So this is a complicated piece, but we're going to go through it in some detail to make it as easy as possible to make these. The one thing you won't be able to do is when we make these, we pull each one to the safe working load. This shackle, the CSS 104, is pulled to 5,000 pounds, and that sets the knot, and you can see what that does. It makes it a very, very hard knot. So that adds some value. The version I'm going to show you how to make is not going to have the knot set, but one of the things you're going to do this differently is leave the tails on this line, because as it gets pulled, you do add, it sucks in the tails. So you need tails on the knot if you're going to use it without presetting the knot. So what you're going to need to do this is a tape measure, a marker, and two fids, 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch fids. The most important part is the 5mm SK75 line. You need a 36-inch piece of that. And one of the tricks to using this line is to make a nice clean cut at a 45-degree angle on each end. That's going to save a lot of time when you go to do the pass-throughs. Once you have all those tools ready, what you do is you take the tape measure and you measure out, again this is for our CSS 104, you measure out the line, and I've pre-measured this out to 12 inches. You just put a mark on the 12-inch point, you can see the 12-inch point, and then another 5.5 inches down from that point you put another mark on the line. Then what you do is you take fid and you open up the line, the center section of the line, so you can place the fid at the mark into the center section of the line. Just do a nice job of squeezing the line together so it opens up the diameter and makes it easier to push the line through. Then what you do is you take the long end of the line and you pull the fid out and you place it inside the line, push it through while you're keeping that compressed and open, and then push it right out through the other end and then pull it out. And then what you do is you take the 3/8 inch fid and you put it inside the loop and then just work the outside of the line over the inside of the line. What we want to do is put a hole right where it exits. So right here we're going to stick a hole through the line, and then what we're going to do is open that up. You can see I'm pulling on each end to open that hole up. Now I'm going to take the other end of the external portion of the berry, I'm going to take that end and run it through the hole I just made. And again, you can see the benefit of having a 45-degree angle cut. And then what you want to do is pull it tight. Grab a hold of the fid and pull the line that runs up through the center real tight. And you can see we've just formed a lock on the line as it comes out of the berry. Okay, now what we're going to do is start the knot portion, which is the complicated part of this. So we're going to try to go through this real slow, and remember you can always stop this and rewind and take a look at it a little closer. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to take the line that you just passed through the other portion of the line, you want to take that and form a loop such that the end goes underneath this part of the line. Okay, so you take the other line then and form a loop through that knot, and then what you do is you take the end of that, run it around, this is important, around the other bitter end, up through the loop that's sticking out. Then what you want to do is kind of just tighten things up a little bit. So what I do, because it's going to help a lot with the next move that's a little bit more complicated. What I normally do here is you want to take and expose this V down here portion that's formed where the lines go together. So I'll stick my finger in there while I'm tightening everything up so I can keep that V exposed. Now the other trick here is to keep these lines both going in a counterclockwise direction. The trick to the knot now is to take each line and go around the next leg. So you can see this leg portion here. So I'm going to take this line and go around this leg, and then I'm going to come up through the center. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull that tight. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go around the next leg. You can see this is the leg I'm going around. Go around that leg and then back up through the center, the same center that I went through with the previous line. So I'm going to pull that up tight. Now what you want to do is spend some time just basically tightening up the knot. So working these pieces through so you can get as much space out of them as possible. You can see I'm just taking my time and pulling those things through. So then what you'll end up with is a knot that's in the shape of a sphere, and you can see that we've got that going here. Now I still want to take and tighten this up because it's still a little bit loose, a little more loose than I like it. So I'll just take my time and work that out. Basically, that's it. Now what you want to do is just tighten it up. And one of the tricks I use there is I take this 3/8 inch fid, and I'll put that in the view for some leverage, and I pull on that, and then I'll pull on both ends to tighten up the knot. And you can see I have a nice, relatively spherical shaped knot. So what we're going to do now is just carefully cut the tails off. Take a nice sharp knife, and I like these ceramic knives. And these don't need to be cut at an angle. You can cut those straight off because we're done using them for anything. And what you want to do is leave at least 1 inch of a tail, because what will happen when you load this knot up, when you start using this shackle, it'll suck those tails in. The knot will move this way as it gets pulled, and it'll suck those tails in. If you have an inch at least for that, then you won't run out of tail basically, and the knot will stay together for you. So the next step is to put the leash on, and what we do for that is we open up the loop that we made basically about as far as we can. So you can see I'm pulling the inside of it out, and what I'm going to do is take the small fid and as close as I can to the external portion, I'm going to run it through. Helps to open up the braid a little bit sometimes. I'm going to run this through the braid. I'm going to run this through the braid, and then I'm going to take a small piece of Dyneema twine, or whatever twine you have. It needs to be some small stuff. This actually has a breaking strength of about 500 pounds, and it is Dyneema. It's like a strand of Dyneema. So what I'll do there is run it through, and then I'll pull enough out, maybe 4 or 5 inches, so that I know it won't get buried. When I push the shackle back in order, basically run the external part of the rope down to the loop. And then you can see I've got about 2.5, 3 inches left here. Then what you want to do is just put a knot in this. And that's so you have something handy to grab onto when you pull on the leash. So then take your sharp knife again and basically just cut the tail off, and you have your leash. So once you have the leash on, what you want to do is open up the loop and put it over the knot you just made. And this is going to be a little large until you put some tension on it, and it'll close down the knot. But you can see, you just stick it over the knot, work this down a little bit, and voila, you have a soft shackle.